All men and women created by so you know the thing.
Walked in this place and said, wow, this is a huge dome. Bozeman's got it all right.
Stage 2.
Go.
Flight directors, go for push. We have liftoff.
Vehicles pitching downrange. XQ. Vehicle supersonic. Stage separation.
You guys know what this represents? I don't remember, it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storming?
Could be the calm before the storm. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Give us a hint on your answers.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all for coming. You'll find out. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode number 74 of Just Our Take. I am your host, John, and my co-host is Dave. How you doing tonight, Dave?
I'm doing great, John. Thanks for asking. Welcome everybody to welcome everybody to Just Our Take. This is a reminder. It's our opinion. This is our point of view. You may agree, you may disagree, and if you disagree, that's okay. We'd love to hear your point of view. Feel free to light it up in chat. I don't have any ego about things, and I'm always willing to learn something new. John, I have two fun things.
Fun things?
One, I just think sometimes, I don't know if people actually understand how things work, but this person on X writes about Elon Musk. Now this Tesla's gone up and the stock's worth more, and he's the richest man in the world, and he's colluding with the government. She says, there's 8 billion people in the world. He could give everyone $1 billion and he'd still have $343 billion left. Just like, you're probably the one trying to balance the budget for us.
Yeah. So that's why we buy these $950 hammers at the Pentagon.
That's why. The other one is from Elon Musk. He says 99% of cars will be electric and autonomous in the future. Manually driven gasoline cars will be like riding a horse while using a flip phone. Still happens, but it's pretty rare.
Depends on what part of the country you're from. You know, most
That's
of
right.
most of the bars out in my neck of the woods, they actually have a hitching post out front. So
I've seen it.
I'm just gonna say,
And also I've seen people out there using those off the grid flip phones.
Oh,
That
yeah.
or they were just on sale at Walmart. I can't.
there's a
I'm
reason
not
for it. Hey, lots and lots of stuff going on. Marie, you know, she tosses this one out there right at the beginning. Producer Marie, she always has good stuff for us. Crazy stuff coming out of all the hidden stuff on COVID-19. Almost every hour there's something else released. They were hiding and covering up. I'm telling you, you're not kidding. And yes, there's a ton of stuff. You know, what's funny, not funny, haha, but I hear people talking about it more openly now. And
Yeah.
you know, that was taboo just a couple of years ago. You don't, you know, shh, quiet, don't talk about it. But now people are talking about it and people are angry. Finally, they're coming out and being angry about some of the stuff that happened. So
Imagine
I find
that.
that interesting. But that said, that's not one of the things we're covering tonight, unfortunately. Shoot.
I will comment.
Producer Marie, you just need to call me and say, John, this is something we've got to hit. Here's some of the data points. And I promise you we'll jump on it.
I do have to say that I am glad to see more and more people feeling comfortable talking about it. It's almost like the danger zone is passed and now it's okay to talk about it. And I am glad people are getting upset by some of the news that's coming out. I wish they got upset 3 years ago. But John, I remember very clearly that, you know, having questions, wanting to ask questions, and then being told you will be fired from your job if you don't take certain action by a certain date. That is a scary time.
I lived in an area where it was a little bit more crazy and over the top than the area that I live in now, which might tell you why I moved to the place I live now. But you know, we were sharing with some people that never went through that craziness, not at the level that we did. We were showing them some photos of the grocery stores completely empty, the meat department complete empty in the meat department with the exception of one thing, all that Beyond Meat garbage. That no one bought any of that. So they'd rather starve than eat that stuff. So there you go. But
it was beyond meat. It was beyond anything edible. But yes.
And then I remember seeing, and this was, you know, we were kind of commemorating about this or commiserating, whatever you want to call it. I remember seeing the grocery store that we shopped at. They would only let so many people in at a time. So basically, if there were two people down an aisle, there were too many. But they also had arrows, stickers on the ground with arrows saying which direction you could go down a certain aisle.
I remember
I'd be like, yeah, right. What, do I get a ticket? Are you going to give me a traffic ticket for going down the wrong way on a one-way aisle? I mean,
okay, so I got in trouble a couple times by my wife. Not that she's bought into it all, but just like, you got to go the right way. Otherwise other people are going to freak out. And there was one time she was getting in line to check out and going through the self-check and, you know, stood what appeared to be a good 6 to 8 feet away at little circle on the ground. You got to stand on and somebody behind's yelling, Hey, I was here first. Turning around. Oh, you're back. You're like halfway down the aisle shopping for frozen peas. No, I'm in line for self-check. No, you're not.
Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
Well, anyways, you know, I know that we've talked about this a little bit, but they are trying to bring back the good old days of the COVID crap, and they're going to call it something else this time. So, hey, listen, I just got a notification on my screen that tells me this may or may not go. If it doesn't, it's the first one. We're going to get into the justice that just happened this week, and that is the acquittal of Daniel Perry. I'm going to play this quick. Hopefully, let's just cross our fingers.
Can I just say a true American hero?
Yeah, might as well.
I just did.
Oh, you did.
Hit play.
Hopefully, I'm trying. I'm just hoping
Leo
Come on, producer Scott.
Porter, December 9th, 2024. President Trump is going to be our next president, and I'm very, very happy about it. But I'm also happy for Marine veteran Daniel Penny. He was just found not guilty of negligent homicide. Daniel Penny is the man who showed courage and protected those passengers on the subway from a lunatic, from a person who was violent. Alvin Bragg lost today. Alvin Bragg is a failure as a DA. You see, he goes after people for political reasons. He went after Daniel Penny because the victim was black. He went after President Trump. But a jury of his peers found him not guilty of negligent homicide, even though there were racial agitators outside trying to pressure this jury into a conviction.
I'm just going to stop it there. We kind of get the point. The interesting thing about Leo Terrell was a civil rights, still is a civil rights attorney. He, up until about, I would say, midway through the first Trump administration, he was a staunch Democrat, hardcore, and Trump started doing what he promised he was doing. And it was funny because Sean Hannity would always have Leo Terrell on, and they would go back and forth. And there was another, Larry Elder was a radio host, and he would always give Leo Terrell a hard time. In the end, Leo Terrell turned around, and he's now as staunch as you can get, and an absolute Trump fan as he's wearing the MAGA hat there. But anyway, Daniel Penny acquitted, and there's a lot of people getting behind that, which is really cool to see. Although the family of the
is grief-stricken family. Yes, you got to say it right, John. Grief-stricken, just beside themselves.
Here's my disclaimer. David has a very dry sense of humor, and his sarcasm never translates. So sometimes I'm going to put one of those signs down below. Let me create one real quick.
Okay, you're right. That was a little sarcasm. It's amazing what you do when you have, I don't know if you're going to get into this, John, because I haven't seen everything yet, but 42 or 44 convictions. I can't remember which one's the correct number. He's physically beaten people in the past, not the distant past, including trying to kidnap a 7-year-old child. He's on the subway. He's in people's faces. He's saying, someone's going to die today. I don't care. And people are afraid for their lives. I would be afraid if somebody was on the subway. And I've been on those subways before in New York. You have too.
Yep.
Anyone could recognize this person is now a threat. Regardless. And Daniel Penny said, I'm going to, as a Marine, you're always a Marine, right? I will protect and serve and save these people. And he did. And he did.
So his family now, who had nothing to do with this trial, yet they were never at the trial. They had never really spoken out before, but now apparently a lawyer has gotten in their ears, and yes, now they are saying that they're going to bring a civil action against Daniel Penny and sue him. So I'm at the ready here, Dave, in case you've got something you need to say.
I'm just going to say, you have to preface it with grieving. It's an incredible loss that they're suffering right now. And we should have a little more, respect's the wrong word. I can't think of the right word.
Even Daniel Penny, I'm going to play his interview real quick. Let's see, share light.
I will say, while you're pulling that up, there's a couple of people who've really showed up as heroes in the face of real danger, life and death, real danger. And they've stood up and they've defended the public. And I tell you, we need millions of people like this. I wish every one of my neighbor was like Daniel Penny. They don't have to be clones, but I wish they were all like him.
Yeah. His father did come out and say, I miss my son. And others have said, when's the last time you saw your son? And it's been years. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, maybe he does. Listen, again, let's not make light of it. The son had a mental illness. He apparently had some drug addictions, and there's a whole lot of things that weren't good in his life. However, you know, he was threatening people on that car. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up. I'm going to go ahead and let you hear directly from Daniel Payne.
I'm not a confrontational person. I don't really extend myself, and I think this type of thing is very uncomfortable. All this attention and limelight is very uncomfortable, and I would prefer without it. I didn't want any type of attention or praise, and I still don't. The guilt I would have felt if someone did get hurt, if he did do what he was threatening to do, would never be able to live with myself. And I'll take 1 million court appearances and people calling me names and people hating me just to keep one of those people from getting hurt or killed. I mean, I'm not a confrontational person.
There you go.
That right there.
Yeah.
That guy's a hero. So, by the way, I do want to apologize if I'm insensitive about a life or death of a person. It is sad that Neely had to die. It's sad that he died. And it's sad that if you want to blame somebody, blame the crappy system in New York. They failed. If you want to be mad at somebody, they failed. New York failed him, and his parents failed him. So let's say his parents, they couldn't do anything. It was beyond their ability. Okay, fine. Society failed him. Who stepped up and said, this person needs more help than he's going to get out on the streets. We need to put him in the right place, get him in front of the right people. Nobody.
I'll even go beyond that. I'll go beyond that and say, and I'm my personal hero, and I don't say that word lightly. My personal hero is Ronald Reagan. I served under him in the Navy. Back in the 80s, he got a lot of pressure from the ACLU, and they started closing federally funded mental institutions. And the homeless population from that time on, you can track it all the way back to that. From that time on, just went out of control. We do not have facilities for people that are mentally ill. Right. Not all of these people are, they call them unhoused. It's not just because they don't have a place to lay their head. There was a study that was recently done, and no one wants the results to come out. I will try to bring that for Sunday's show, but there's a report that came out that shows that when they give housing to these people that are typically unhoused, what they do is they live in squalor. They destroy the place. They bring their little camp stoves inside their rooms where they're staying. And then the place is just an absolute mess because that's what they're comfortable in. They're not capable of living. And I'm saying, I know I'm throwing the general blanket out there. In general, these people that have mental illnesses that should be in a mental institution rather than out on the street or in jail, they need a different type of help. And so, yes, I agree with you. Not just New York, but I think the whole United States has failed them. Yeah, I agree. Now, having said all of that, in society, if somebody is acting out in a way that is an immediate violent threat to the people around them, then society has no choice but to defend itself. You don't sit back and wait till somebody else gets hurt. You have no choice. And I think most people are afraid to act. This guy is a hero. He's like, I will save and he said, I would do it again and again. I couldn't live with myself if I let somebody get hurt. It's incredible. Well, there's another video out that came out today. And by the way, I agree with you, Marie. He was given many options, but the one option that he was not given was mental help. And that's what he needed more than anything, was mental help. Again, what he did was horrible. What he's done over and over again has been horrible. But these folks are not well. I'm just going to say that. And we need to do a better job there. I would love to see something come in the way of some sort of mental help for them. On the other side, and by the way, there's some people in our news media that probably need some mental help. How's that for a segue? I'm going to tell you about the United Healthcare CEO who was gunned down in the middle of the street, and that subsequent arrest. Here's a quick little clip on that.
So I wanted to show you again this killer, Luigi Mangione. I believe that's how you say his name, Mangione. Ivy League grad with degrees in comp science, avid reader, and active contributor on GitHub. This is from Peruvian Bull. He has a 130 plus IQ, but he takes off his mask at a Starbucks to flirt with an employee. Then an hour later goes and calmly kills the CEO of a major healthcare company. Rides away on a bike. A week later, he goes to a local McDonald's where he brings the murder weapon, the fake ID he used to check into a hotel, and a written manifesto on how horrible the American healthcare system is. He somehow gets identified by the cashier after he sits down. He works on his laptop until police come inside the McDonald's, sitting there with a ghost gun and suppressor that he made himself. It comes back.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to that. We're not done with that yet, but an IQ of 130, and he forgets that he took his mask off in the Starbucks, and then a few days later shows up at a McDonald's. He happens to be wearing the same clothes, by the way. He's got the gun. By the way, it was a 3D printed gun, is what I understand. He had a 3D printed gun on him, as well as a manifesto like, hey, today's the day I'm going to get caught. Now, I just want to bring up this picture. This was a freeze frame from him, or of him. And here is a booking photo comparing him, the person that they booked on the bottom, to the person in the photo on the top. You see the separation on the eyebrows there? I'm calling something ain't right.
I think he just had some no, that's not it. His eyebrows grew fast, really, really fast is what happened. John, this is the conspiracy theorist in me. Those are not the same people. Those two photos are not of the same person.
Let's ask the audience. What do you guys think? Is that the same person? Anybody? I don't think it is.
If that's him, he was at least. Oh, that's sorry. Wrong. Looking for the other message. I can't. Here, this is the one.
So I don't disagree with you, Marie. There was a time in this country where, and I'm sorry to go back, but there was a time in this country where that was the sentence, was mental health, and you didn't. It wasn't like we're going to give you a choice. It was you will go. You'll be in this facility for a period of however long, and anyway, that's been done away with. Unfortunately, they're not in their right minds. But let's get back to our guy Luigi. I'm sorry, that's not Luigi. I agree, he's the fall guy. And by the way, why didn't they use the original guy as the fall guy?
Yeah, why and it's so look, I don't know what a hitman looks like, but what I will say is the guy walked up in the video. We all saw the video, very calmly, very carefully pointed, shot, continued to shoot, and then very calmly moved away and then took off. Like, that's incredible. I can't imagine somebody having the presence to mind to do something like that, unless, in my mind, this is how my mind works, unless they were trained, unless they'd been through this before. Because I can't imagine what it could be like to do that for the first time for somebody. Like, it's got to be incredibly traumatizing. But no, just very common.
I don't have the video handy.
I'll look it up.
But well, I need a comparison video. So yesterday he was in court, and I was shocked at how tall the guy is. But these two, I'm sorry, this one, there's the first picture. This is a close up, and the guy that they've arrested. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. But let me watch the rest of this video here real quick. Oh, that's not the video at all. Where'd my video go?
Come on, Scott, the producer, get on it.
There it is. Sorry.
This shooter makes you wonder, with all the exposure happening. Then you have this reporter, I believe, Taylor Lorenz. We talked about her in the past. how she felt seeing a CEO executed.
I do believe in the sanctity of life. And I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, because it feels like.
Serious?
I mean,
joy at a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy. Because again,
we're watching the footage. How can this make you joyful? This guy's a husband, he's a father, and he's being gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Thousands of Americans that being murdered. So are the tens of thousands of Americans, innocent Americans, who died because greedy health insurance executives like this one push policies of denying care to the most vulnerable people. And the many millions of Americans that have watched people that I care about suffer and in some cases die because of lack of health care.
So should they all be killed then? Should they all be killed, these healthcare executives? Would that make you even more joyful?
No, that would not.
But why not?
And,
why are you laughing?
I think because it wouldn't fix the
You seem to find the whole thing hilarious.
I find your question funny.
A bloke's been murdered in the street. I don't find it funny at all.
I don't find it funny that tens of thousands of Americans die every year and because they are denied life-saving healthcare from people like the CEO. Now, I want to fix the system. You're right. We shouldn't be going around shooting each other with vigilante justice. No. I think that it is a good thing that this murder has led to.
It's interesting how she changes her tune after she's called out on national TV. I just find it sickening. Her first response was, yeah, it brings me joy.
Yeah, it brings me joy. And it brings you joy that somebody was murdered.
Yeah. So I see that you've brought some photos up. I have as well. And I would say that the problem is we are going on that this is actually him, but let me just show you again that first picture that I showed you where it's clearly not the same guy. Where'd that go?
Yeah, I will say what the one issue with this, of course, after the fact is, were some of these pictures doctored? Who knows? I mean, we have no idea. We have no way of knowing.
Oh, well, that's not good. So it doesn't really dig in there and show you whether that is, him or not. This is unequivocal. That is, wait, you took it down.
Sorry.
First, this is unequivocal. This is actually the guy on the bottom that they have in custody. The guy on the top is the picture directly from the shooter. So I don't know. I mean, could it be? I don't.
So look, let me see how this looks. Oops. Hold on. I think this one's mine. So up here, I don't actually here. This looks like the one where he's in the squad car. I don't know if that's true or not.
No,
but
that wasn't a squad car. That was actually a taxi.
Never mind. I meant a taxi. He was in a taxi, which looks very similar to this one here, but looks nothing like this one here.
Yep, I agree.
So, yeah, I mean, I will go out on a limb and say they're not the same person, even though I have no idea if those pictures were doctored, but there's so many of them.
Yeah.
You have to doctor a lot of them.
So the reason I played that last clip is because there are a lot of people that have come out and said that they were all for Mangione or Giovanni or whatever his last name is. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that is something that you root for, assassinating somebody. If you don't like their policies, then you find ways to get around it. But to say now, if you don't like the policy of someone or the way that they respond, and by the way, the guy was under criminal indictment. So something was coming his way. So now we go out and shoot him. Now, we talked about this last week or on Sunday's show. Was he assassinated because they didn't want him to testify? I don't know. That's one of those fun little theories that we can toss out there under the heading of Just Our Take.
But what's interesting is, in the Reddit sphere, the X sphere, wherever you read people's commentary sphere, you had Penny as the villain, and you had this guy as the hero. Luigi is the hero because, you know, it's like Robin Hood. And it, you know, it's interesting. Some of the stories about people who didn't have a great experience with healthcare or had real severe issues with their healthcare providers came out. And this is the reason people are saying he's a hero. He's fighting for us. I don't think murder, like premeditated, because he was there for a while, right? This is clearly premeditated murder. That's not the answer. I get it. I get how upset you are. I don't actually know how upset the shooter. I don't know how upset he was really. I have no idea. Can't truly empathize, but I can't imagine that murder is the answer.
I think the question is, what was he charged with? He was charged with second-degree murder. How is that not lying in wait? Is first-degree murder? Period.
It's first-degree murder. He was premeditated. Yes.
Yeah. So it was premeditated. And by the way, the statute for premeditation can be nearly instantaneous. If you took an action that you knew was going to kill somebody, and you had all of the things in place to make that happen, that could be considered premeditated murder. It doesn't have to be like a 5-minute period, a 50-minute period, a 5-day period. That's not the way the law works.
It was reported that he was seen, I'll say, canvassing the area hours ahead of time. And that some people believe that he waited as long as 12 hours before the CEO walked out of the hotel. So, but he was way more than a few seconds. And so, look it up. It's first-degree murder. It's premeditated murder.
Anyway, so yeah, I agree that I did hear that as well. There's a lot of this going around, and this is very disturbing. I'll just say it that way. It's very disturbing. Yeah. I'm going to move on. That story is not going to make me any happier. I just brought it to you kind of as in a juxtaposition to the Daniel Penny thing. So we talked the other day, justified murder? No, it does not. Murder is not. The only thing that would be would be self-defense. Self-defense would be not the same as murder, right? So no, I don't think.
No, this was not self-defense. This was murder. Do you know what failed Representative Jamal Bowman, no longer in office, had to say about it? Did you read what he said?
No, but go ahead.
Dear white people, should I read the rest? Does that tell you all you need to know? I don't know why I feel the need to keep talking to you. I don't know why part of me still has hope for you and for us. Some of you are too far gone, but maybe enough of you aren't. Will join join us in fighting to end white supremacy. This is, anyways, that's why he's not, that's why he lost his job. Anyways.
Moving on. On Sunday, we talked about, because the breaking news was the fall of Syria, the fall of Damascus, and following a grueling 10-day period. Can you imagine that? 10 days is what it took for the fall of Damascus. I'm going to show you a quick little video about how the people feel about the fall of Damascus. Yeah, as you can tell, they were quite happy about it. And they celebrate with machine gun fire.
Nothing bad's going to happen here. And by the way, that's going to cost a lot of money to fix. Kidding.
Yeah, so interesting. And now, as we originally heard on Sunday, there were questions about whether or not Assad and his family and a couple of close associates made it out or not, because there was a plane crash. And that apparently was a decoy. I don't know how you get those people to volunteer to be on the decoy plane. But apparently that happened.
Anybody ready to go today?
Yeah.
That's terrible. I don't mean that. That's, who knows? Maybe it was a drone, John. They said it was a plane full of people, but maybe it was just a drone they flew.
It was not. It was they tracked it from takeoff all the way till its unplanned landing. So yeah, well, there was that. And then I have to say, what's really interesting is I told you, and I think we both agreed there would be more to the story, and that we would bring you the more to the story. I've got a banger for you. This is definitely it's going to come under the heading of Just Our Take. And Dave, if you don't want to take credit for this part of it, you can bow out too, because it kind of comes in. But before I do that, I want to show you some video. Yeah, sometimes
you mean like it's not my take. I don't know what you're about to show. This could be fun.
Sometimes John's opinion comes from his years in naval wargaming and military operations. So, oh boy, it did it again. Let me see if I can't get this to share the screen. I have to do this again. Sorry about that, folks. Our producer, our video producer, is on. I don't know what he is. He's on vacation.
Come on, Scott. I just call him Scott. Or
Scott left. Scott has left the building. Okay, here we go. So Israel said none of that madness. By the way, we showed you the other night how many places Israel had still been targeting across the Syrian border. I'm just going to show you this video and show you. I think that there's some speaking in it, but I don't know that we understand any of it unless we have our Arabic translator on hand.
استهدف طيران الاحتلال الصهيوني المنطقة على منتصف الليل.
So what we're showing here is, I can bring this down. This is what's left of the Syrian Navy. This is a Syrian shipyard. Across the bay here, you can see the smoldering remnants of a Syrian destroyer, as well as a few other patrol boats that are right in there. There are some missile tubes on that boat. Not sure. There you go. There's a Zodiac, and there's a couple other things on fire. But basically what they wanted to do, Israel said, we are not going to take any chances. We are going to, while we have the opportunity, remove all opportunity for these. By the way, we should have done this ourselves at some point. They don't want these weapons of war to end up in the hands of Al-Qaeda or ISIS. Kind of a smart decision there. Those are all missile tubes, by the way.
Explain missile tube.
So inside that
tube,
long white tube there is a missile, and that missile is most likely a surface-to-surface missile. So launch it from the surface of the water and let it go land in a building, let it land against another ship, something like that. So lots of damage done, lots of airstrikes, and these were all, they did not use missiles. They actually used aircraft to do these. And that was over several hours, completely unopposed as well. So that's, so as we talked about, there was a lot of, I don't know, on our part, something didn't fit. And I think as at the end of the show, I said, oh my gosh, look at this, breaking news. There were B-52s, F-15s, all American, and A-10s. Now, B-52s are going to be your long-range bombers. The F-15s, they do have a bombing capability, but generally they're going to be there to defend the B-52s. And the A-10s, that was really interesting. An A-10 is actually a close-in support battlefield aircraft. So what they do is they protect our troops. So if our troops are headed into a place where there could be some opposition, the A-10s would go in and wipe them out. They also can take care of tanks or other armored vehicles. Now, here's what's interesting to me, and this is where you got to stay with me here. It could take a couple minutes to get through this part. So we found out recently that in the north, up in the Aleppo area, but not just in the Aleppo area, but in the Aleppo area, the Iranians, remember in that map that we showed on Sunday, all the Iranian troops that were there and all the Iranian outposts that were in Syria, the Iranians had a vested interest in keeping Syria afloat. Well, apparently, as it's coming out, and you'll see more about this in the next few days, the Iranians had a nuclear weapons facility there. So they were trying to finalize their nuclear weapons development in Syria, because some of the agreements that we've had said that they could not work on or build or develop nuclear weapons in Iran. So they were getting around that by annexing part of Syria, and for their efforts, they were protecting Assad. Okay, so then you have to say, that's interesting. That's probably some of the strikes that we did was up to the north. By the way, that's what the original report said, that the B-52 strikes were to the north. So were we taking out that nuclear weapons facility? Okay, here's where we get to the conspiracy John thing, and just my take. Years ago, during the Obama administration, they meaning Secretary of State Clinton and Barack Obama, brokered a deal to sell uranium, and it was called the Uranium One deal. They were selling American uranium, according to them, to Russia. It's since come out, and there's heavy speculation that that was diverted along with pallets and pallets and pallets of cash to Iran. And that could be the uranium that they are developing nuclear weapons with in Iran. Now, here's where it really gets fun. The thing about uranium and plutonium, it has a fingerprint. The isotope actually has a fingerprint that is very unique to specifically where that uranium came from. And when they mine the uranium, they fortify the uranium, what they do with it is they actually document that fingerprint. So they know if there is a nuclear spill, a nuclear blast, a detonation of any kind, they can go in and find out exactly where the source originally for that uranium was. I'm thinking, and wouldn't this be neat? So why do we have ground troops in there? Again, I said the only reason that you would have the A-10s in there is if we had ground troops. So if we have ground troops in there, maybe their job is to go in and take some collections to find out where that uranium came from. And if it does trace back to Hillary and
what? Oops.
What happens then? What happens then? It's
that is,
I'm sticking to it. I'm saying, and if I can go back through, they've got an Iranian weapons facility in Syria. Syria was defending Assad in exchange for letting them finalize their nuclear weapons there. We go in, we blow that place up, and we find out, again, John's speculation, we find out that the uranium that they were using to finalize their nuclear bombs came from the Uranium One deal that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and John Kerry brokered. How about that?
So will they be able to recover the Ukrainian, I have Ukraine on my mind, the uranium. Will they be able to recover the uranium? And if they do, will they dispose of it in the next 30 days?
You're assuming that only the bad guys are over there. Bad guys, I mean, people that would want to hide that for the Clinton.
You're
Obama
right.
folks.
You're right. You're right. You're right. I was making that assumption, but you're right. There were a lot of groups involved. We talked about that already. The U.S., we just talked about their involvement, Israel's involvement, Turkey's involvement, some of the Kurdish folks from the northern area of Syria were involved. Syria or Turkey were involved. So yeah, there are a number of groups and of course various rebel groups led by the person who actually is now leading.
We'll go through some of the comments here. Megillah says, I read that Assad is now in Russia. I've read that as well. There are pictures that people are putting out to say that they are, I'm sure there are photos that people are putting out saying that this is a recent picture. But when you do a Google search, it comes back to an old file picture of Assad with Putin. So I don't know. But again, I have read that he is in Russia and that Russia has offered asylum. So it all makes sense. There you go. And Roger says we have U.S. troops in Syria in the Kurdish region. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you could be right. Maybe it's I'll call them the white hats, right? The good guys that are hopefully will recover the uranium. And if it does if it does show the markers that would lead it back to the uranium that we sold to Russia that ended up in in Syria, somehow, did Russia sell it to Iran, who then brought it to Syria? Did the ship turn right instead of going straight and then drop it off in Iran, who took it to Syria? Was it shipped direct to Syria? I'd like to talk to the FedEx driver. I mean, where did it go? And if it went to Russia first and Russia sold it to Iran or gave it or traded it, I mean, that opens up a whole nother can of worms.
So then let's go back to what we were talking about on Sunday about the nuke sniffers that are over DC and over the San Diego West Coast area. They're sniffing for something too. There could be some intel out there that something had been removed and they don't know where it is. So they're constantly out there looking for this. By the way, these things are very sensitive. These nuke sniffers, they can pick up from a long distance. So it's interesting. I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm just putting all of the pieces together as I see it and trying to make sense of it. Let's say that they come up and they find out after they do battle damage assessment that there wasn't any nukes there. Okay, my bad, right? What if there were nukes, but it doesn't match to the isotope from what was sold? Okay, then we have to question where is that uranium? But at least we got rid of another one of Iran's nuke programs. By the way, you remember way back when Israel said we will not allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon, and they went and destroyed some nuclear weapons facilities in Iran.
Yeah.
And everyone said, "Wait, what are you doing?" Well, Israel's been pretty busy taking out some facilities in Iran, and not a lot of mistakes been made over it.
I think in that recent commentary, it was, we don't have any nuclear weapon sites. Israel said, okay, well, the area we just bombed wasn't a nuclear weapons facility. It's fine.
Now it's a glass.
Yeah. Well, wait, we were developing something over there. Not anymore. I mean, of course, they're not going to tell us. By the way, selling uranium, now at the time that we sold uranium to Russia, they weren't considered to be a super friend of ours. It just seemed really odd at the time. Why would we do that? But I always scratch my head wondering, why do we, by the way, this is the tough part, right? You have the people who live in Iran, Iranians, and then you have the leadership in Iran. You got to separate the two, because not everybody from that country, and I've met plenty of them, agree with the way things are being led there. Why would we allow the people that rule Iran to have 1 inch of space at all? We just should not until they decide to become a good citizen with the rest of the world. Until then,
I'm just going to say, you're not pulling any punches here. The current administration has been more favorable to Iran. They have unfrozen assets. They have given them flat out cash.
Yeah.
They for whatever reasons, they want Iran to have the ability to fund these. Because look, everyone knows that they don't take care of their own people with the money. Sounds familiar. Yeah. But they know that they're building this nuclear weapons stash for themselves. So I don't know, Dave. What can I say? I'm going to put some more video. We can talk over this. This is some more video of what's going on, or the aftermath of it.
It looks like there's no more Syrian Navy is what it looks like.
Among other things. They took out some other things too. So there's those missile tubes we talked about. Yeah, I mean, it'd be great to go in and see what exactly Israel was able to destroy. So
we are making conspiracy theorists out of some of our viewers. Yes. I mean, is it possible that the current government, I don't know about the future government, but
well, yeah, there are some people with direct ties. I agree with you, Miguel. There are people with direct ties. Uma Abedin, who was in the Obama administration. What was the other one's name? doggone it, she was, I can picture her, but I can't remember her name, but there was a ton of them. Yeah, there was a lot of people in the Obama administration that had direct ties to the Iranian government. So,
well, hopefully the good guys are the ones that are over there, and hopefully the news comes out. And if it's true, I mean, look, as a country, we it's at some point, even though you say you can't handle the truth. Well, it's probably right. We probably can't handle the truth, but we need the truth. I mean, rip the Band-Aid off, give us the truth. As uncomfortable as it is, it's the only way we can move forward.
yeah, I'm not sure what to make of this, but I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. I'll close out this other one here real quick. Again, we've seen the burning. We get it. Let's see. So they have chosen a new prime minister in Syria, and I believe that this was the deputy prime minister. But he has taken the role, and he will be there until March. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name.
I thought it was Littleton Senior Living, but then you scrolled down. I saw there was more to it.
Let me just close that out, David. So wait, where's my sarcasm alert again?
I'm just having a little fun. Yeah.
So
we'll see who they appoint. I mean, clearly there's a regime change. We have a new government.
So they've appointed this guy. Again, don't remember his name. He has ties to Al Qaeda, but he is there until March of 2025, at which time they are going to have an election. Right. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how their elections run over there. I don't know if they are legitimate elections or if they're questionable elections. But
we'll find. There were a lot of promises made. By the way, is it Malwar? I have to look up his name. I don't want to butcher it. But he made a lot of promises about just general population, right? Women would have more rights, and children would be treated differently. And there were a lot of things that he said that, if in fact they follow through with, that would be great for the Syrian communities, for their society. I mean, if you think back just a few years ago, how many millions of people fled Syria for Europe, right? I think Germany took in almost 1 million people, and so there were Syrian refugee camps on different parts of Western Europe. I mean, it was an incredibly horrible experience for millions of people who of course they didn't want to leave their home, but they felt like they had to because of the way that Assad was ruling the country.
Well, there's no question that Assad was a really, really, really bad dude.
Yeah, and so
they had those not kill zones. They had those prisons where they were just assassinating people, extermination camps. That's what they were calling them. Just bad stuff.
Yeah.
Again, more stuff I'm sure is going to be coming out, and we'll keep an eye out for that, and we'll bring it to you on Sunday. But I really do think that this story's not over yet. However, there is another story out there, and I wish I had a graphic that would show the BS meter, and you guys can just use we're pegging the meter. Have you guys seen the drone?
Oh, yes. Drones as big as SUVs flying over the cities, areas in New Jersey and the government,
DC,
yeah, and it's not Iranian ships off of an Iranian mothership. We know that, and
all right,
it's
let's
nothing
see
to be concerned about, but we don't know what it is.
You're stealing the interviewer's lines, David.
Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry, play it, John.
I walked out because it was worthless. It was the biggest amateur hour presentation I've ever seen about anything. Okay, it was ridiculous. There were no answers. Every question that was asked by a member of the state legislature, great questions, no answers, no resolution. They don't know where the drones are coming from. They don't know who's doing it. They don't know why they're doing it, but they say there's no credible threat. It was annoying to be there. I drove 2 hours to be here today, spent an hour in there. I got to drive 2 hours back. The biggest waste of 5 hours in my entire life.
So why do you think they called this meeting?
No idea. Why would you call a meeting to tell people you don't know anything? I have no idea. And then when the legislators would ask questions, there were no answers. Here's the most frustrating part. The colonel of the state police said that he had a helicopter of his flying above one of these drones, a 6-foot drone or something. I can't remember exactly what he said. And he felt unsafe for his helicopter. So he just let it go. Just let it go. Where'd it go? Who knows? Didn't want to follow it because he didn't feel safe. Is that not the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? I mean, honestly.
Do they have any idea where these drones are originating?
No, they don't. They would. Maybe if they followed that sucker to when it landed, they would know, but they don't. This is a complete lack of effort, in my opinion, on trying to figure this out. This is not about ability. We have the technology, we have the people, we have the training, we have the resources, we have the money. It's just a lack of effort. I mean,
why?
I don't know. They should be saying, you know what they should have done today with productive use of our time, if they didn't know anything, come in there and say, hey, legislators, we don't know anything. But if you get us these 10 things, do these 10 things for us, and the governor calls in this kind of action, we can figure it out. Will you help us? And then we would have helped them. But instead, it was just excuse after excuse, and we know nothing. It was infuriating, and I got up and I walked out.
You've been in the service, right?
Yeah, I was an attack helicopter pilot, Apache helicopter pilot in the Army, and I helped stand up the initial unmanned aircraft training battalion in the aviation sector of the Army. So I know a little bit about what I'm talking about, and these guys are not doing the job they need to do to figure out what's going on, and that is the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the state police.
And they're saying no threat to Americans.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing. When I walked in here today, I was actually pretty calm. I was excited to be here to find out a couple things. I thought they'd be like, hey, listen, it's FedEx trying to figure out. But instead, I got the most ridiculous amateur hour briefing I've ever sat through.
How about that? So that was a New Jersey state representative who was called into a Homeland Security briefing. And as you heard, they said, I don't know, and pointed fingers at everyone else.
We know what it's not, but we don't know what it is. And we're not planning to take any action.
I'm not sure they know what it's not. I'm not sure they know what it's what. Let's listen to this guy.
Dangerous for the whole country. I mean, just think about this. If we have objects in the sky that are the size of an SUV over any city, over any state, it's an invasion of our airspace.
Yes.
In focus now, Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, member of the House Judiciary Committee on the Hill right now. How do you address this at this point?
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, we know there was a probability.
I'm going to stop you right there for just 1 second.
Wow.
I want you to see the red and green light on that.
Christmas time. Go on.
No, the red and green light are navigational lights. It shows you the direction that the drone is going. All aircraft are supposed to have them. All legal aircraft.
It could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some.
Wait. Did you already just said?
He said, know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. Sorry. I don't even. Like, that should not be funny. They would tell us. They're very honest. They're
okay,
so honest.
Remember the meter? Whoa.
We need one of those.
Really glorified hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward.
Well, there you go.
Jeff?
That's just his take.
Jeff, I'm raising the BS flag on you. Sorry, buddy. But I don't believe anything you just said. What? Let me ask you this. Do you think if Iran was going to be flying drones over America, they're sitting in the room and they're like, hey, China, so when you send us those drones, make sure you put navigation lights on them because we don't want to break any laws.
Right. We want to be very, very quiet. So you could not have any lights at all. That'd be great.
I'm sorry. I'm not buying that. And by the way, that drone in the picture. Now, again, maybe there are other things. I've got another video I'm going to show you here. Someone took a time lapse of all the drones that are going over, but that drone that they showed you, I'm sorry, that is a DJI Phantom Pro 3. I mean, that is exactly the format. That's what they look like. That's where do you remember I used to have night drone? Remember that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, same exact thing. They don't put navigation lights on these military drones from the mothership. Good Lord.
From the Iranian mothership.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to show you this video, though. Sorry. The sarcasm level is off the charts.
That was John's sarcasm.
As you can hear, the sarcasm. This is just the dumbest story. I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. But here's
I
the
hope
time
we get to hear your take on what you think it is.
Here's a time lapse so you can see what someone has found. Why isn't it playing?
It's not lapsing.
Hang on, I got it right here.
Time stands still. Oh, those are aliens.
So they're claiming that those are
Martians.
They're claiming that those are drones. I don't. Again, I don't know.
What do you think they are if they're not drones? It's time lapsed, so we don't know what the real speed is by watching this.
Right. Although it can't be that fast because you see the cars going by and they're not a blink, you know. Like, I don't know if you've ever used the time lapse feature on your iPhone, but if these were, I don't know. What I do know is that story about the mothership and the Iranians and the mothership. Let me just tell you this. We have the technology, the United States of America, to track an object the size of a golf ball at 300 miles on radar. So the idea that we don't know where they came from and where they're going is just true. It's 100% not true. It's not even a little bit believable. If there is a mothership, they know exactly what that mothership is. And by the way, not just through radar, but from satellite. Again, it's just a dumb thing. So I think, personally, the mothership.
Yes, the mothership is coming. Okay, what's your take? I want to hear it. I'm on the edge of my chair.
I could be wrong. I think Roger was Air Force, but I'm not 100% positive.
He was also being sarcastic. I
don't want to out him. Oh yeah, sarcastic alert. I should put that one up again. Listen, so here's my take. I think they're getting close to some things that are going to come out, and they want everyone distracted right now. They don't want people paying attention to it, so they're going to put this drone story out there. And there's a mothership, and the mothership is. If there was a mothership, we know exactly where it is. I'm sorry. If these things were really flying all over the place, you know, NORAD or anybody else could have found exactly where they were coming from, where they were going. These things don't have unlimited fuel. They have to go back and be refueled if they're you know, a liquid fuel, or if they're a battery operated, they got to be recharged. Again, they're coming and going from someplace. If they really are there at all, someone knows. And somebody said, "Oh, they're the size of an RV,
SUV."
I heard SUV and I heard RV. Come on,
shoot them down. Just shoot them down. You'll find out right away who the owner is. You'll find out right away.
And they do have ways that they can lock onto it with, for lack of a better term, a tractor beam. Basically, it's a beam that blocks out the control signals and brings it to you. They have that ability to do that. Great. And there are local police departments that have those capabilities.
Shoot it down.
Shoot it down, fry it, do whatever you need to do, take a pulse weapon to it. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry. I can end up eating my words here. Okay. And maybe there's going to be a drone attack on, that
would be horrible.
The Bitterroot Valley of Montana. And it's like all these drones. You'd see all these hunters out there though with their shotguns. Hey, look, Martha, it's hunting season.
I think I saw that movie. It's called Men in Black.
And I'd be one of them.
Well, I Yeah, I know we joke because it feels like it's a charade, right? And you're right, it could be a distraction because there's about to be a changing of the guard that is so massive. And every single time someone speaks out, now the local Washington, there's so many billionaires and they're wrong and they're not qualified and this person's a threat to democracy. That's still a thing, by the way. Every single time you wonder, what are you hiding that you're afraid is going to be exposed when the new posse, comes to town, because you're going to get exposed. That's just the way it is.
Were you going to do a Jean-Claude Van Damme drone?
I don't think it's Wednesday without us giving some money or releasing money to Ukraine. I just thought we would take a quick moment to hear Jean-Pierre.
The United States and G7 are now making good on that commitment. Together, we will leverage income earned from frozen Russian sovereign assets to provide a total of $50 billion of extraordinary revenue acceleration, ERA loans.
How much? $50 billion. $50 billion. So we took the Russian money, but basically money that we could access in banks, right? Financial institutions where we could go and freeze our assets. We froze your assets. We supposedly earned some interest on that money, which I doubt. And now we're going to take $50 billion and we're going to give/loan some of it to Ukraine just because it's Wednesday.
Why not?
Tomorrow,
because their economy is so booming, they have the ability to pay it back.
They're gonna. Well, we have been forgiving some of the money we've given them.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I just thought it's Wednesday. Who needs money this week? We took care of Angola. We gave money to, some other international fund, $3 billion here. We gave $1 billion to Ukraine last week.
All right, we're in the quick hit section, and since we're in the quick hit section, that's where we just rapid fire through some stories.
Let's do it.
Do us a favor and hit that thumbs up. We love it when you hit the thumbs up. It also tells other people where we are, and it helps them find our show. The other thing that does that is when you do the word of mouth thing, tell your friends about us. So this comes from the debt clock. The U.S. spent $28 million on licensing fees for green camo for Afghan army uniforms in the desert.
There you go. That's great.
Woo-hoo, great job.
Oh, it's awesome. Doge classics.
Yep.
It's going to be great.
No, you can't. How can you? Yeah. Another one that came up this today, I think it was how about this? Let's just play this because why not? You're going to love it. This is a short and sweet one.
After weeks of careful thought, I've decided the right thing for the Bureau is for me to serve until the end of the current administration in January and then step down.
Don't let the door hit you.
The right thing to do is to quit. And that's so I don't hear about getting fired during a news press or press announcement, whatever it is. What did Trump do with Comey? What did he do? He fired him during a press conference. I mean, he deserved it.
Well, that's what I loved about, Dick Durbin comes out and says, well, President Trump doesn't know, but he can't fire him. Well, he did it before, so I'm pretty sure he'll do it again if he says he's going to. How about this one? One of our longtime favorites, our buddy Eric.
I worked across from Kash Patel on the House Intel Committee, and he was a loyalist to Devin Nunes and did everything to be a wrecking ball there. And he blindly followed the orders of Nunes and essentially Trump. And he'll do the same at the FBI. But to the agents at the FBI and the DOJ prosecutors, I say this. I was a prosecutor once. I had an oath to upkeep to the Constitution and to the court. And you're not helpless. You do not have to follow illegal orders. And the American people, while they want to see the costs of their goods and groceries come down, they do not want us to look like Russia or China. And so it's going to depend on the men and women at the FBI and the DOJ to stand tall and to show the courage that really led them to join the ranks of those forces. And I still have trust that they will be.
And in other breaking news, the Capitol Post Office has confiscated a letter from Eric Swalwell's Chinese spy girlfriend, Fang Fang. It turns out that she was just sending him a Christmas card.
And by the way, Fang Fang did not like the fact that he just said something negative about her home country. That guy has the audacity to talk about anything having to do with national security or taking an oath to defend the Constitution. He
literally had a Chinese spy for a girlfriend.
For what, 6 years? I mean, it wasn't like for a couple of weeks like he got duped. It was years.
Yeah, it's like, oops. No.
Yeah.
All right, here's another one. This one.
That was a good one, by the way.
Sometimes this is better. These congressional hearings are just awesome. And so we're gonna interview the Postmaster General.
United States people, and they don't use your service anymore. You bankrupt.
That is not true.
You bankrupt this through your reputation only. Through your reputation, you are responsible for the fall of the Postal Service and the lack of accountability.
Congress is responsible for the fall of the
So
Postal
it's
Service.
Congress.
I am trying to fix
on your
the
watch
Postal Service.
With all the AI.
Before my watch, the same stuff happened.
With all the AI, with all the computer systems, you're worse than if I took a horse and picked up the mail and delivered it 2 miles down the road.
You're talking to your la 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 la.
Can you believe this?
Man.
The guy covers his ears in congressional hearing.
You're la 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 la. I don't hear you.
What a clown!
Oh man, you know the Postal Service. What did they get? $25 billion at the beginning of Biden's. I can't remember when. Maybe Trump gave it to him. $25 billion. You would think that they would figure out. Now, in all fairness, I didn't do any research about that before this, but there was a law passed, and I think it was in the 80s, could have been the 90s, that restricts them from raising their rates. They can only raise it a certain amount every year. But it doesn't matter. You have UPS and FedEx come on the scene, and it took the Postal Service years to get caught up to them in terms of just overnight service, all the express deliveries, and there's no excuse for not being able to do that. And if you can't keep up, then it goes away and something else fills its place. That's the way it is.
Well, you can't make me.
La 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 la. So childish. I feel kind of childish right now. Wait, there's more.
Oh yeah.
But in what sign of the end of New York's migrant crisis, the city is closing 25 of its more than 200 shelter locations over the next few months, including the Randall's Island Giant Tent encampment, where we've repeatedly covered violence, and the Floyd Bennett Field encampment, where there's been flooding concerns and many neighbors have protested.
How about that?
He's, you know
Closing
what?
25 of these shelters.
You know what? Yeah, you ticked him off. As soon as Eric, you put him in the corner, you start holding him to the same standard you hold Trump to, right? Well, it's a little different. But all of a sudden you put him in the corner, and what does he do? Now he's like, okay, fine, I'm still the mayor. Let me show you how things are going to be run. And now he's closing migrant shelters. He's talking about wanting to restore law and order, which is tough to do now because they've gone kind of a little bit far to the left. He came out and said Penny's a hero. I mean, he is now moving in the he's moving in the direction that you'd expect the mayor of New York to move in. It's a little bit late, but I am glad to see it.
Is this Giuliani 2.0?
But you just got to start from the beginning.
Interestingly enough, McGill, what they're doing is they're actually moving out, and some are moving to other states. Some of them are going back to the countries from which they came. How about that?
Right. Some are going home. Not everybody was a refugee from Venezuela or from a Venezuelan prison
or Haiti
or Haiti.
Because they're eating the dog. Sorry, we're not going to go there. I'm going to show you. So our friends to the north of us had something to say today.
Oh yes.
As I mentioned to the Prime Minister, the rest of the premiers, we need to be ready. We need to be ready to fight. This fight is coming 100% on January the 20th or January 21st. We don't know what extent this fight's going to go to, but we need to line up everything that we're going to tariff and make sure that the tariff, the money that's coming from these tariffs, don't go into a federal bank account sitting there somewhere. It needs to be immediately distributed right across the province equally, and we'll be able to support the companies, the factories, the workers for any issues that they're facing at the time. So it's a good start.
Did he give you any details of what where those retaliatory tariffs would be aimed on American goods?
No, Chrystia Freeland's going to put a list together. We're going to put our list together, and I'm sure the other provinces will as well. But we will go to the full extent, depending on how far this goes. We will go to the extent of cutting off their energy, going down to Michigan, going down to New York State, and over to Wisconsin. I don't want this to happen, but my number one job is to protect Ontarians and Canadians as a.
How about that? So he's going to cut off our energy.
He's going to cut off our energy. By the way, John, before you go further, I just want to point out that they're already prepared. They have the correct country flag on the far left. They have the correct state flag in the middle. And I don't know what the UK is going to say about this, but that last flag there, it's no longer relevant.
I thought it was kind of funny. Donald Trump this week said, "Hey, I want to congratulate the governor of Canada."
Exactly.
Yeah. So he's going to cut off energy. I guess he didn't hear when Donald Trump said, "Drill, baby, drill." The U.S. has enough oil and fuel to fuel every passenger car for 430 years, enough natural gas to provide electricity for 575 years, and enough coal to provide electricity for about 500 years. In pre-show, David said, "You think that they can outweight us?"
If I could just hold on a little longer, they're almost out. I mean, in 400 years, I'm sure we'll have moved on to some other source of energy. But yeah, Canada, oh Canada.
So,
and the thing is, if you get into the tariffs, if you start looking into like what is the purpose of the tariffs? The tariffs is a financial. It's a way to I'm going to change your behavior, Canada. I'm going to change your behavior, Mexico. If you want to have trade without tariffs, then I need you to act differently, behave differently. And that's what it is. And like it or not, it's a stick.
Yeah. To that question, Miguel, what he's really saying is he's going to stop supplying coal and oil to us, which we don't really need. We're buying it from them because the current administration cut off all of our means, not all, but a good portion of our means to harvest our own energy sources. So Trump's going to open that up on day one. You know that he's going to. It'll take a little while to fill back in, but cut it off. We'll find it someplace else until you are buying it from us, because that will happen. So I'm going to show you. Did you guys hear that Mitch McConnell fell again the other day?
Yeah.
He was being wheeled around the Capitol in this manner. He's not well. I mean, again, going back to the compassionate side of our being here, nobody wants to see anybody in this condition. But quite frankly, this guy should have left a long time ago.
Right.
He now has unbelievable bruises all over his hands. His face has a big contusion on it, and his lips are bruised from the fall. So I'm not sure what he fell into, but it wasn't pretty, that's for sure. And again, he says, "I'm sticking around for 2 more years."
And the thing is, was it Feinstein who, she had a short leave of absence and came back, and they asked her, "How's it feel to be back?" "I've never left." She was unwell also for probably a couple of years and remained in office up to the point where, she died. Well, she died, I think, shortly after she left, but she died. He is not going to make it. And take the last few, whatever time you have remaining, and go and try to enjoy your life. Like, go spend time with your family, because it's clear you're not well.
Yep. 100%. But you know who is well?
Nancy Pelosi. Oh, drunk, but well.
Time man of the year or person of the year.
He doesn't drink, by the way. Just he doesn't drink and he doesn't smoke.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
So
terrible person that
interesting.
doesn't drink.
So they do this, but then they try to, cap him and say some mean things about him in the midst of making him the person of the year. Look, I don't know. I'll take it. Person of the year. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I have high hopes. I have high hopes.
Yeah. The posse's coming.
All right. So we're going to keep an eye on Syria because I still think that story is not done yet. I think that there's still more things to happen there. I think that we did promise some more news on South Korea. I didn't find enough to really bring forward. I did find some really interesting video from Paris, and I'm going to put something together. Paris is horrible. I don't know who would want to go visit that right now. There are more police and military on the streets than tourists.
Yeah, so around the world, John, and this is something we'll have to pay attention to. Around the world, you're seeing, we talked about this on Sunday, there is different levels of unrest for different reasons in different parts of the world. And France, it's an economic thing, but yeah, they're in bad shape. And by the way, we didn't talk about this, but the first time I read this story, I thought, well, is that real or is it not real? Turns out this is real. So we'll have to spend a couple minutes here too, because not that we want to, become frightened, but hundreds of vials of deadly viruses missing after a lab breach in Australia.
It's as real as the original COVID-19. That's what I'm going to say.
Oh, so they were missing, and all of a sudden one might show up someplace. Okay, well, I guess that's possible.
Well, that said, I want to thank our sponsor, Steel Rebel Design. I know that Kim's watching tonight. She's in the process. She actually went back to work tonight to finish up our Make America Great Again dark MAGA hat. And you're going to have the Make America Great Again on black, and then in the back there's going to be a Just Our Take black on black as well. So I'm really excited about it. She's working hard to get it right. The one thing I can tell you about her is she's not going to release it until it is right. So I'm pretty excited about it. So again, thanks Kim at Steel Rebel Design. She makes our hats, hoodies, cups, shirts, and all of the other goodies. I'm actually going to take a video of the one of her embroidery machines doing our hat. So that'll be kind of fun. I'll bring that up as well. But they make our hats and shirts just like the one you see here. They make cups. They make all kinds of logo stuff for us. So you can find their information in the description below. Just click on the link that says merch and you can get directly to our hats and shirts there. And then if you had other things, you can get a hold of Kim at Steel Rebel Design. And if you needed some shirts or hats or cups or whatever for your own personal needs from 5 or 500, she can take care of you. Kim at Steel Rebel Design, thank you very much for sponsoring the Just Our Take show. And if you use our name, Just Our Take, tell them John and Dave sent you. They will give you a 10% discount. How's that sound?
Sounds awesome.
I love it.
I'll take it too. All right, John.
Sunday. We're going to talk more about Syria if there is more. He's still bringing more people into the cabinet. He's putting in his secondary and tertiary people as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that Kimberly Guilfoyle got a position. Harmeet Dillon got a position. There's a lot of, now the cynic in me says, so, Kimberly Guilfoyle has been seeing Don Jr., right?
Yes.
And I don't know if he likes her or not. I mean, Don Jr. No, I don't mean Don Jr. Donald Trump. I don't know. If
I was going to say, do you think Don Jr. might break up and then it just gets awkward?
He did leave his wife for Kimberly Guilfoyle, and Kimberly Guilfoyle used to be the spouse of Gavin Newsom, or as he calls him, Newscomb.
Newscomb.
So, what do you do when you want to get rid of somebody, but you don't want it to know you're getting rid of them? You make them an ambassador. So she's now going to be the ambassador to Greece.
Oh no, that's right. I did see that.
Okay, I don't know if that's a congratulations or a enjoy yourself. Don't call.
No, it's sort of a no, I don't know. Greece actually was in the news for other reasons. They have a population decline that's threatening their financial future. Carrie Lake, did you see Carrie Lake's nomination? Trump says, I am pleased to announce that Carrie Lake will serve as our next director of the Voice of America. I didn't even know we had such a thing.
Oh, that's been around forever.
Okay, well, maybe I just didn't know that. She'll be, what I don't know is a lot. She will be appointed by and work closely with our next head of the U.S. Agency for Global Media, who I will announce soon, to ensure that American values of freedom and liberty are broadcast around the world fairly and accurately, unlike the lies spread by fake news media.
I'm disappointed. I really was hoping that she would fight and win
Me too.
her Senate seat in Arizona, because it's clear they stole it.
Yeah,
And by the
me
way, I'm going to follow up on this. I heard a Hit News report earlier that Orange County, California has 300,000 more votes than registered voters.
Yeah, carry the one, multiply by 3.
Okay. As always, you can follow us here on Rumble. You can follow us here on YouTube or here on X. We're on all 3 places. Just look for the Just Our Take and you find that logo. It'll be there. Also, you can email us at justourtakeshow@gmail.com in case you want to send us a hot tip, or you want to yell at us. Either way, you can either comment down below. That would be great. We love it. We love to see your comments. Love to read your comments. And also a thumbs up is great, and a share and a follow. And you want to send us candy cane for Christmas. That's awesome too. On that happy note, Dave, anything you want to bring to us on Sunday?
We just talked through it. No, I'm good. Well, again, I'll point back to, I should talk about the last jobs report. It was another one. We're like, could you just give us the facts and not give us your rhetoric? But I know that's not exciting for a lot of people, but it's way overstated. Actually, as I'm rambling here, Biden came out, was it yesterday, and was glory grandstanding. I gave you the greatest economy in the world that I'm handing on a silver platter to the new administration who's going to screw it all up. Maybe we can spend just a couple minutes on that, because it actually is quite comical, actually sad, comical in that, seriously, you've done everything you can to destroy our economy. That's sad because he's done everything to destroy our economy. I can't even get the words out. It's terrible. Anyways, we might spend a minute on that, but otherwise, John, I really feel like we have to pay very close attention to what's happening globally. There's a lot of unrest, and unfortunately, that could heat up, and we are doing everything we can to kind of like throw sparks on the dry tinder right now. So
I think there are people definitely that are trying to sabotage the incoming administration before they even hit the ground.
Exactly.
That said, here we go. I'm going to take us out like we did last week. This actually earned us a copyright strike over on the YT. So that's okay. We love it. Thank you guys for showing up. We appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and